2012 is obviously a huge year in the political arena, and there's a lot of debate everywhere you go. Our reporter Russell Nemetz had a chance to meet Bob Beckel and Cal Thomas, a conservative commentator and liberal one, to get their perspectives on what's ahead for this election year.
Well, as we continue to bring you some of the sights and sounds from this year's Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA trade show here in Nashville, Tennessee, obviously 2012 is a huge political and election year, and a couple of speakers here in Nashville, Tennessee with us this year. Cal Thomas, who brings us the conservative perspective, and Bob Beckel, who brings us the liberal perspective, are with us on the program. Cal, let's go ahead and start with you, sir. Talk a little bit about this year's political climate leading up to those huge November elections.
Well, it's something that I've been through on many election cycles. I've come to not trust any politician because they can't improve my life more than I can do on my own. I think it's a bad field this year, frankly, from the Republican perspective. An awful lot of people didn't want to run who, in my judgment, were far more qualified and more interesting than those who are running. But you have what you have. President's numbers are not looking good. No president's been reelected with unemployment numbers at this level. Gallup shows his approval numbers are down substantially. And yet, we'll see. It's too early. It's only February. A lot can happen and probably will.
Absolutely. Let's go now for Bob's perspective. You're going to provide the little bit liberal comment for us today.
No, I'm not, man. I'm not in this joint. I'm outnumbered here, 99-1. No, I agree with Cal. It's tough to make a prediction, but let me put it this way. Watching this Republican presidential primary and caucus has been one of the most amazingly exciting periods of my life. In fact, I don't know how to pick up the broken piece of my life and carry on. I am amazed, actually really amazed, given Obama's situation, which was perilous to say the least this year, early 2011. Now, I have to defend Obama on television every day, and some days I feel like the only fireplug at the Westminster Dog Show, okay? Now, but things are getting better, and the economy is getting better, and one of the problems is that the Republicans are beating themselves up. You know, we're used to seeing Republicans beat up Democrats. Now the Republicans are beating up themselves because, as I've said for many years, they have no clue what they stand for.
Well, I wouldn't exactly agree with that. I mean, look at Hillary and Barack Obama in the last election cycle. Who's qualified to take the 3 a.m. phone call? The implication that the president, now president, then Senator Obama for less than one term, had no real experience in virtually anything other than being a community organizer. So things change very quickly, as Bob knows. What seems true today can seem untrue tomorrow. And I think a lot is going to happen. Unemployment is still very high. The actual unemployment is above 10%. And I think it's going to be a very tough re-election road for the president.
So I want to ask you both now, what's your message to these cattlemen and cattlewomen here in Nashville? Because you can still be political diverse, yet hopefully along the lines we can still find some sort of common ground. Well,
first of all, let me say that I am the few speakers you've ever had here actually owned a cattle ranch. It burned down, but I did. I owned one. It was a dude ranch. We used to lease cattle to grazing rights, and then, of course, we had a dam to give water to cows because they need water to live, not beer but water, right? And the dam on our pond broke, and so we had to patch it up, and the Army Corps of Engineers came in and fined us $2,000 a day. That's why I'm not quite as liberal as some people think. The $2,000 a day for a dam that we had to have because you have to have water, right? What was your question?
Exactly. Finding common ground.
We can find common ground. We find a lot of common ground. On a serious note, this polarization has gotten to the point now where you're sitting out here and you look, 85% of the people in this country want common ground, and no percent of the people on Capitol Hill want it. And at some point, they're going to realize when the voters start to cast their votes against people who are polarizers, then you're going to see common ground. Everybody else has to deal with common ground every day. These guys in Washington somehow think that they're immune from that.
Yeah, common ground doesn't mean that you wimp out or that you don't have principles. It means that you build relationships first. And then you're able to put the interests of the country before your own interests. Bob and I have been friends for many years. We have a deep personal as well as professional relationship. And he doesn't hate America. I don't hate America. He's not less patriotic than I am because I happen to believe in certain things that some of which he believes in and others that he doesn't. So I think we need to get back away from this business of accusing people of being less American or un-American because we have political differences. And if we start getting to know each other better, our neighbors, the Taliban are on the other side. Bob and I are fellow Americans and good friends. And if we have that attitude, then we can, for the most part, work out our differences and problems for the benefit of the general welfare.
Gentlemen,
let's not
thank you
forget
very
the
much.
Chinese, too, if I could.
Absolutely.
Put them in there.
Thanks for joining us here at the 2012 Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA Trade Show, 2 of this year's featured speakers. Kevin, with that, we'll go ahead and send it back to you.
Want to see more events from this year's convention? Visit beefusa.org.